Hey there guys, it's Jesse, and today we're taking down Majordomo Staghelm, the second to last boss in the Firelands in World of Warcraft Cataclysm. In my personal opinion, without a doubt, this is one of the most fun battles in Cataclysm so far. Not only is it not some overly complicated light show with horrific RNG, but it also isn't a pushover either. It reminds me of old school raids, and this, I like. Fandral, the Night Elf traitor and leader of the Fire Druids, has some pretty unique abilities that in order to understand the strat, we need to break down really quick. Bear with me. During this encounter, depending on certain conditions, he'll morph into one of three forms. The trick to this fight is that you need to keep him switching between them, so seeing and knowing about all three is a must. The first we'll look at is Scorpion form. This happens when 7 or more raid members are clustered together. During this form, he uses Flame Scythe, which does 750,000 fire damage to anyone in front of him. The damage is, however, split equally among any targets in the area, but every time he uses it, he gains a stack of adrenaline. Each stack increases his energy regen, allowing him to cast Flame Scythe faster and faster and faster, causing more and more damage. His second form is Cat form. This happens when the raid spreads out. During this form, he'll use something called Leaping Flames. Fandral will randomly target a raid member and leap at them, not only leaving behind a replica of himself called a Spirit of Flame, but also creating a circle of lava on the ground where he lands that causes 25,000 damage every half second that you stand in it. Just like in Scorpion form, the more he uses his main ability, the more stacks of adrenaline he gets, the more often he can use it. Also, in order to make the fight just a little bit more difficult, every time he switches to Cat form or Scorpion form, he gets a stack of Fury. This will increase the damage of Leaping Flames or Flame Scythe by 8% each stack, and in essence, is what forces a raid wipe should you take too long. The trickiest part, however, is that on every third transformation, he returns to his Night Elf form, and in this case, two things can happen. If he's switching from Cat form to Scorpion form, he'll unleash something called Searing Seeds. Searing Seeds is a debuff that goes on all raid members, but with different timers for each person. So you may have 15 seconds, and the guy next to you may have 40. When the timer reaches 0, it'll explode, causing 60k fire damage to anyone in 12 yards. But if Fandral is switching from Scorpion to Cat form, he'll use something called Burning Orbs instead. These are giant orbs placed around the room that attack the nearest player, burning them for 5,000 damage every 2 seconds with a stacking debuff. You'll most likely need 2 or 3 people in the area to take the damage on these. So I know what a few of you are thinking. The Night Elf part seems just a tad confusing. Well, you know what? It kinda is. So let me break it down for you and give you a solid strat for victory, and hopefully you'll understand. When the fight begins, the entire raid stacks in the middle of the room, forcing Fandral into Scorpion form. This phase should be fairly easy to manage healing and damaging the boss, allowing you to push him up to 8 stacks of adrenaline. The second he hits 8, the entire raid spreads. Now, before the fight begins, your raid needs to decide who is standing where around the circle to make this transition easier. You need to make sure that no one is stacked, and there's a good 10 yards between each of you. Once you spread, he'll transform into Cat form and begin pouncing around the room. The biggest issue here is for the DPS to get down his spawning adds, and for the range to avoid standing in the lava pools. When the 5th pool spawns, the entire raid runs back to the center and stacks again. At this point, he'll stun the raid and enter his Night Elf phase, giving each of you Searing Seeds. You need to watch your debuff carefully. The minute you're out of stun, you could have less than 15 seconds left to get out of the raid and far away. The best strategy here to keep your DPS high and your damage low is to run out 5 to 7 seconds before the timer runs down. This will easily prevent you from damaging the raid and give you enough time to find a place where you won't damage anyone else who's trying to run out too. And of course, while all that's going on, you're still in a Scorpion phase, and he's starting to get a tad more powerful. This time, once he hits 7 stacks of adrenaline, the entire raid spreads out again, and you repeat the Cat phase just like before. Wait for those 5 leaps, then gather back together for another Scorpion phase. This time, however, not only are you going to have the Flame Scythe to deal with, but also any leftover adds. Again, DPS him down till he hits 7 stacks of adrenaline, then start to spread, but no, he'll switch into his Night Elf form and stun the whole raid, unleashing the Burning Orbs. The raid then needs to spread out like normal, but still have enough people in the area who can run in and out and take the orb stacks should someone start to get too high. So now, not only are you dodging the leaps, but you're also taking on the adds and the damage from the orbs. This is when it starts to get damage intensive. After 5 leaps, just like before, everyone should go back to the center. Luckily for you, this happens to be exactly when the orbs despawn anyway, so it's perfect. In this final Scorpion phase, Fandral will be doing a ton of damage, so you really should only stay in for 4 stacks of Adrenaline. Really don't push it. Even if you have the best healers in the world, pushing it too much could wipe you. Once you hit 4, spread out again, Fandral will go into cat form, and from here, it should be an easy piece of cake to get him down. If you can remember the numbers 8, 7, 7, 4 while in Scorpion form, and 5 for each of the cat forms, you will have no trouble mitigating the damage in this fight. If you need to change it up for your raid, by all means do so, but really, this fight is not that complicated, it's just a lot of fun. So as always, to show that if I can do it, so can you, here is our first Fandral Staghelm kill. Anyway, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Thumbs up, subscribe, all that junk. And as always, to be continued.